Hi guys and girls, this is the video introducing your flex work for today, okay? And our lesson today is solving more complex equations or more complex versions of the equations we were solving last week. Okay, so by the end of this lesson, hopefully you'll know how to solve these more complex equations, okay? What I'd like you to do is exercise 205, question 3, following on from what we did last time, and question 5, and do the first two columns. Now these questions you can see written down come from the last column, so you don't have to do these. I'm just using them as a demo to show you some of the techniques that we use with these more complex equations. Okay, I'd have a look at them. Okay, I'd have a read through the book first. I'd have a go at the equations, and then if you get stuck, see if it matches one of these. I've picked a few that match most of the equations, so they'll look like this. Pick the one you're having trouble with. I'm going to spend the rest of the video going through them, so scroll to the place I'm doing the equation that you are struggling with, and then just do it with me. Okay, do the same things that I do in the same order, just try and do it with the different numbers. Okay, now for the flex work, you don't have to complete all of it from go to woe and get it right. Okay, I just want to see that there's a genuine attempt at doing all the questions. So that's copying them down, showing you working, doing a few steps, and if you get stuck, that's fine, move on to the next one. If you don't get stuck, that's fantastic, okay? And if you get stuck, hopefully the video might help. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to do 3c first. Okay, now this equation is difficult because it's got the brackets there. So my first job is to try and get rid of them. Okay, and to do that, I expand the brackets. I take the 2 times it by the c, I take the 2 times it by the 10, and I end up with 2c minus 20. 2 times c is 2c, 2 times 10 is 20. Okay, then I write down the rest, 3c plus 8, just copying that in. Okay, now we have ones like we were doing last week. Okay, so my first move is just to get rid of the 2c by taking away 2c from both sides. I end up with c, because 2c minus 3c gives me c, plus 8, because I haven't done anything with it, equals minus 20. Okay, and this is just the same without the 2c because that cancel. Okay, then I take away 8, and I'm left with c equals minus 28. The 8 cancels from that side. I end up with minus 20 minus the next 8 on the other. Okay? And that's that question done. Okay, the next one is different because it's got the fraction here. Okay, and one term is a fraction. None of the rest are fractions. I've got that one fraction sort of like making everything a little bit more difficult. So what I do is I times every single term in the thing by 2 to get rid of that. Okay, and when I times the 3c over 2 by 2, the half and the 2 cancel, and I end up with 3x minus 10, 2 times 5 is 10, equals 4x, because I've got to times this one by 2 as well, plus 18. Okay, you keep it equal, you keep it fair if you times everything by 2, but it also gets rid of that fraction which makes life difficult. Okay, then what we do is take away the 3x like we did before to get rid of the x's from that side, and we're left with minus 10 equals x. 4x take 3x plus 18 Okay? Then we take away 18 from both sides to get rid of it. And we left with x, because this 18 and that 18 cancel, equals negative 28. Minus 10, take another 18, gives you negative 28. Okay? And that's questions done. On to 3L. Okay, this is difficult because both sides are fractions and they have different denominator. Okay, if they were the same denominator, we could just times it by that number and get rid of all the fractions. But unfortunately, they're different numbers on the bottom. This one's 5 and this one's 2. Okay, so what I do to get rid of it is I times this entire top bit by 2. And that's like timesing both sides by 2 and getting rid of this fraction on the bottom. Okay, I can do that. I can side both sides by 2, times the right side by 2 and get rid of that fraction, times the left side by 2 and be left with 2 up the top. Okay? And I can do the same thing with the 5 on the other side. Okay? And that leaves me with 2 outside of 2m minus 3 equals 5 outside of 3m plus 1. Now, if that was confusing, just note that the 2 ended up outside the brackets because I'm timesing the left side by 2. And the 5 ended up on the right side of the brackets because I'm timesing the right side by 5 to get rid of the fractions. Okay, then I expand like normal and I'm left with 4m minus 6 equals 15m plus 1. Okay, I take away the 4m from both sides to get rid of it, just like I've done before. And I'm left with negative 6 equals 11m. Oh, and sorry, I made a mistake. That should have been 5. Sorry about that. 1 times 5 is 5. So I'm still left with 11m. My mistake did not affect that. Plus 5. Okay. Now I take away 5 from both sides. And I'm left with 11m equals negative 11. So I can now go to m equals negative 1. I'm just dividing both sides by 11. Okay, now we're getting on to the cubes. So what this entire thing means in 5C is that u some unknown number, that one there, is times by itself 3 times. That's what the little index means, that 3, that you take u and times it by itself 3 times. Then it's being times by 5. That's what the coefficient out the front means. And all of that gives me negative 40. Okay, and that's the order. U is cubed first because of order of operations, then it's times by 5. So I've got to undo that. I've got to work backwards. Okay, so I want to get rid of the 5, and to do that, I divide by 5. I do that to both sides, and I end up with u cubed equals minus 40. Okay, so the question is, what times itself 3 times makes, oh sorry, and I should have divided the 40 by 5, makes negative 8. I apologise for that. Okay, what times itself 3 times makes negative 8. Okay, so what you can do is press this button on your calculator, and that asks that exact question. That's the cubed root button. And that question asks the calculator, what times itself 3 times makes -8, and it should give you the answer u equals -2. Okay, so with that one, first we get rid of the 5, then we cubed root it. Okay, now this is a very similar question, but it's different. Okay, this is the cubed root of 2e equals -6. Okay, this is kind of the reverse of the last one. So the question here is 2e, when you sort of cube root it, will give you -6. What's the original 2e? And here, our first job is to cube everything. Okay, that undoes the cubed root. So we press this button on our calculator. Okay, we take the cube. Okay, and when we cube both sides, we get rid of this cubed root symbol, and we end up with 2e equals -216. Okay, because that's 6 times itself 3 times. Okay, 6 sixes are 36, times 6 gives you 216. Okay, because there's a minus out the front, there's a minus there, because minus times a minus makes a plus, but times by another minus puts it back to a minus. Okay, so this may look confusing, but just think, if I cube root that 216, I'll get the -6. Okay, and that's what that's told me. But the equation also has 2 e's, so I've got to half it to find out what 1e equals. Okay, and I'm left with e equals half of 216, which is -108. Okay, and that's me done. So there are a few hard questions in there, but hopefully this has given you ideas of how to do them. Okay, give them a go. If you're a little bit scared, I'm certain that you'll surprise yourself with how much you know. Okay, and I'll be back hopefully soon to give you a hint if needed. Okay, bye guys. Good luck.